Can you actually hear something?
And I can see both my cats, so I know it's not them.
No.
Okay, do you want to go check and me and Lozzy will fill the air just in case? Potential ghost live on pod. Let's commentate, Loz. What do we think's happening currently?
R.I.P. Myah, we sorely miss you, and you're a great addition to the team. Moving on. Hello and welcome to the D.R.I.P podcast. You might notice a bit different today. I'm here with Myah and Scott, without Bailey and Jordan. He is currently on a stag with Bailey, who is getting married. Congratulations, Bailey. This is not the first time I would have said it, but I'm just saying, we're celebrating together, you know? Celebrating without you, let's be honest. But yeah, we're going to be doing a podcast for you guys today. It's going to be us just reading some stories out, some kind of paranormal stories. We're going to take it in turns. Myah, I know you're going to be on your own for the next few days while Jordan's away, so enjoy that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 4 nights. 4 good old nights after reading some horrible stories. This is going to be fucking sick.
Well, if anything does happen, remember, in the spirit of Jordan, get the camera. Get it rolling.
Film it.
Film it. You know, see.
When he gets home, he'll find an SD card.
That's it.
You're missing, but the SD card's there.
And it would have all been worth it. So
then you realise
do it for the views.
you put the wrong SD card in. And it's not filmed anything.
Mike's not plugged in properly.
Yeah, Mike's not plugged in.
I'll kill you again.
So we've got a few stories to go through. They're kind of a mixed bag, to be honest. There's some like left home alone kind of stories, I guess, of disappearing women. We've got a whole host of, well, we've got 7. So let's not overdo.
I don't like that description of the first one. The left home alone disappearing.
I may have
woman
ad-libbed that, to be honest. I don't know if that is actually the case. I just ad-libbed it. Thought, you know, it might add to the spice.
It sounds like a ghost story.
Just for you.
Oh, sounds like it could be coming true.
That's it.
This weekend. So.
That's it. Just, it's only 4 days.
Exactly. Fine.
You'll be fine. Just, you know, keep your snap maps on. Actually, it's probably snap maps on. Oh dear. Yeah. Right. So I'm gonna.
Oh no, Maya's gone missing. Must check her snap location.
Where is she? Oh, he's dumped her phone. Oh shit. Oh well.
Oh, fuck's sake. Why did I think of that?
That's literally the most we can do. Sorry. She's left her own devices. So this first story I'm going to read out is called Last Sight of a Departed Friend. Seems pretty apt. That's it.
Sick.
This could be.
This is it, guys. This is the last sight.
Last sight tonight. This letter from Margaret S. I didn't put it on the screen. Look, what is going on? I didn't put it on the screen for all you lovely.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Well, I've got there on my own by the end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to zoom in a bit.
I hate to say it.
Well,
that is also my initials.
That is. Oh dear, this is not good. This is not good.
And also, yeah, no, it's not September the 24th, but
it's pretty close.
I'm born on September the 9th.
It's close enough. Yeah. Any resemblance with 1948 or
19?
Any like favourite numbers?
I was born in 1997.
You were born in 19?
I'd say that's a fucking link.
That is a link.
Yeah.
The 1900s.
That's undeniable, that is.
Yeah, that's a
That can't be a coincidence.
It can't be. In the same century. That's ridiculous. Awful. Well, in the future, R.I.P. Myah, we sorely miss you, and you're a great addition to the team. Moving on.
Cheers. That'll be that.
Yeah. That's
You're busy over.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we're sponsored by Wraith. You know, get you 20% off down below using code Dudey. Their drinks are really cool, actually. They do power us through the investigations. They do help.
They've just launched a coffee as well.
Just launched a coffee.
Oof.
Scott, you're going to be all over that coffee, aren't you? You do love a bit of coffee.
I am going to be. I do love a coffee.
Get it down, your son. Anyway, use code Dudey for 20% off. I'm pretty sure Jordan puts up like a Wraith banner or something. I don't know what he does in the edits, but yeah, Jordan, work your magic.
apologies for pulling you out of the podcast momentarily. I just needed to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Wraith. Now, I have to do long editing sessions, and of course, I have to do those overnight paranormal investigations. And as terrifying as they are, which you would think you'd be fueled by fear, when you get to around 2, 3, 4 in the morning, you do get a little bit drowsy. So I use Wraith to keep me alert, keep me aware, and keep me energized. What I love about Wraith is the vast amount of flavors that you can get. My personal favorite is the pear drop. You know, the sweets, pear drops. I know it sounds a bit silly, but you think like drink flavors, they say that they're one thing and they're just sort of like, yeah, it's not though. No, it literally tastes like you're drinking pear drops. And with my code Dudey, that's D-U-D-E-Y, you can get yourself 20% off. Just go to drinkwraith.com and get your Wraith energy today. Thank you so much to Wraith for sponsoring this podcast.
So, yeah, last sight of a departed friend. This letter from Margaret S. Gladstone of Wiltshire was published on September the 24th, 1948. Margaret was prompted to write by some recent letters which had appeared in the magazine in previous weeks. The ghost letters which you have been publishing in Country Life are very interesting to me, and I venture to add one of my own. Returning to my flat in Westminster one afternoon, I saw two friends coming towards me on the other side of the street. I had no time to stop, and I hoped they would not notice me. I crossed the street behind them and hurried home.
Savage.
I know. That's just rude.
Recommended videos for you. What was that video?
I absolutely would have read that if it was me reading that story, by the
What
way.
is
That would have been the next line. That's one of the mutant birds from the Mothman episode.
Is that looks like a magpie? Does that say magpie? That's weird.
Yeah, like magpies, they love shiny objects. I wonder what that's about.
Jesus. This is a weird website already.
Oh, is it? I take it that's a jackdaw.
Ah, yes.
It
It
says
does say
jackdaw
jackdaw.
underneath.
We'll move on
Continue.
because this isn't a podcast about birds.
Sorry.
Despite what you heard last week, quite a lot of bird talk last week. This week, not so much, hopefully. Anyway, at breakfast time, a friend rang to tell me that the man I had seen the day before had died in the night. I was amazed and described how I had seen him and his wife apparently in perfect health. My friend exclaimed that was an impossibility as he had been ill for some days. The widow, I may mention, is still alive. So,
Ooh, weird.
yeah.
Okay.
What do we think of that one?
If she hadn't have been so rude, she could have spoken to a ghost.
Maybe.
Yeah, not very
So,
friendly,
my
is it?
person's- That's a bit rude. We've
You're
all,
my
we've all done
friends,
it
I'm
though.
gonna hide.
So
Yeah.
You've got to have time for
every
ghosts.
single day. It's true.
Make time.
It's true. I've learnt my lesson. I have learnt my lesson.
Well, we'll see if you've learnt your lesson. We'll see. The future
But yeah.
will show us all. But yeah, it's. I want to just point out as well, she's quite well off. I mean, 1948 to be fair, Westminster was that. It's still probably pretty expensive to have a house there or home.
It does strike me as the sort of place where if you see someone like seeing someone you know on the other side of the street feels weird in the middle of Westminster.
Mm.
Because that just feels it too populated. Now, I guess again, 1948, whatever it was, that would be less dense.
Yeah.
Why not?
But also, like, I don't really know how it was like in Westminster because I've never been and I wasn't alive during that time. But I do know that people used to be a lot more friendly with neighbours and that. So it's a bit strange how she was like, no, I ain't got any time. Also, what are you doing in 1948?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Just-
Isn't it?
I mean, that was after the war, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, during the war, she might have had an excuse. Sorry, I'm too busy
I'd have been
worrying about the Blitz and that.
Yeah. What can you
Flat man
possibly
in the
be
middle of
busy
London.
doing in 1948? There was nothing to do,
Yeah, the war's over. The only interesting thing of that decade's done.
isn't it?
Let's see.
Like, or what? Sorry, I've got to go bake some bread.
That is
Yeah.
what they did in the 40s, to be fair.
There you go, 1948. Every baker in 1948 down the pan. Literally, what is the
They were
point?
just absolutely swamped with work
Yeah.
throughout 1948.
So, what are we
Where's
rating
popular
that
trade?
one?
I don't know. It's not really. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like It hasn't captivated me that much. I'm not going to lie.
Mind you,
No.
wherever we put this does kind of set the level for the next few because we need to base them around this.
That's a pretty hard job to do because I have no idea what the other stories are. But
Exactly.
I'd say this is a 3 out of 10.
Oof. I mean,
Give it.
could it have been a time slip?
Maybe. I do like the
'Cause
idea
I
of
mean-
time slips.
If they weren't dead at that point,
Yeah.
maybe she was seeing
think-
them 6 months prior.
Yeah, I think it's quite cool, and I think it's quite that's weird, but it hasn't shivered me timbers. I'm not shook up. I could comfortably sleep on my own tonight after that story.
That is how we're judging these entire things. If
Yeah.
Maya's going to sleep
Is it going to
tonight
keep
or
me up
not.
tonight? Yeah.
Oh,
Like
well,
when I lay down in bed, close my eyes, which one of these stories is going to keep me up? And it isn't that one.
Okay.
well, if we're rating it
We'll give
that
it a
way, that
3.
one's got to be a 1, surely.
Yeah.
But then again, just hindsight is telling me don't do that because there's going to be a worse one somewhere. There's got to be.
It definitely is.
That's it.
We'll go with a 3, I think.
Stick
Yeah.
with a 3. We can always
There's
revise
7 in
these.
total. Worst case, 6 more. They've got to be up from here. But
Yeah.
there is space if they're not.
You'd hope. You really
Yeah,
hope.
I like that. Go somewhere low middle.
Right, who was reading the next one? I can't remember what.
I believe that is now me.
Okay, right. Pop it on the screen. The Disappearing Woman. Proceed.
Let's go.
Oh, it's in Devon. That's where I live.
There you go.
Okay. So we've got The Disappearing Woman. Madge Smith's letter, which was published on September the 3rd, 1948, tells a story which took place in Devon. Harold Penrose's Somerset Ghosties, August 6th.
Already not scary. Just call them
Ghosties just is not. Was satisfactorily accounted for. But my own experience in Taunton is less easily disposed of. This occurred more than 10 years ago, but it's still vivid in my mind. One afternoon, my attention was arrested by a woman moving through the throng, on whose face was a most dreadful expression of distress. So appalling was her grief, with great tears rolling down her cheeks, that I had an uncontrollable impulse to follow her. It's a bit of an odd reaction, that.
Yeah.
Bit creepy, but-
Nowadays, you see a woman bawling in the streets, the last thing you do is follow her.
100%.
Ending up on a list if you do that now.
Jesus Christ. That's it. I agree.
I could not see her again. I looked all about, following the way she was going, trying to see again my vague impression of black, clinging garments, a tall figure, grey, disordered hair, and that face of trouble. She was nowhere. I turned to my companions, who were amazed at my outburst. They had seen nothing, but at the time we were passing the bloody Assizes. Assizes.
I don't know.
Assizes.
I don't know what that even means.
Of course, the bloody asses.
Google, define that for me. The power of the search engine.
Okay, Google. What are the bloody asses?
What the hell is this? Right. This doesn't make any sense to me at all. Right. Apparently, a court which formerly sat at intervals in each county of England and Wales to administer the civil and criminal law. In 1972, the civil jurisdiction of Assizes was transferred to the High Court and the criminal jurisdiction of the Crown Court.
So it's an old courthouse then.
Right. Okay.
Sort of. For
Why
each
didn't you just say
area.
that, Madge?
So
The
hang on.
bloody
So
asses.
I read it. So what actually happened here? There was a woman. She was crying. This person
Is
saw
that the end
her.
of the story?
Yeah.
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 What was the story?
There was a crying woman who disappeared.
That's what I think, Small. Jesus Christ.
That's the noise she made.
So let's picture this. And then there was a crying woman.
She probably fucking run away from you, you little creep.
With grey hair.
Jesus.
Okay, so that
Apologies.
one wasn't great.
I mean,
I'm glad that we reserved
that was a decline.
2 and 1 out of 10
yeah.
for the next story.
Yeah.
That's shocked.
Mm.
There
In
wasn't even a
hindsight-
story.
Well, no. I mean, I wanted these to be a surprise to us all, so I didn't actually read them thoroughly.
Well, it is a
In,
surprise.
in retrospect,
It's still a surprise.
No, this is fun. I
It's
actually
fun.
came up with a podcast idea of reading terrible ghost stories.
There you
So
go.
perhaps this is what we can call this
we've
episode. Instead.
unintentionally done that.
Yeah, because I think it'll
Solid.
be. Let's just roast these ghost stories.
These
I mean,
bloody Azises.
Bloody
that's my highlight so far is the word assassins.
Yeah. Azises. What is going on there? Language is
Right.
weird, bro.
So where are we putting that one then? So the last one was a 3.
That's got to be. I mean, I daren't say 1 because the next one we've got another 5 to go. Do you know what I mean?
We're
we
gonna
do
be
a
into the
tier
minus
list?
numbers at this rate.
Let's do a tier list. So 6 to 1. 6 is the best.
Fucking hell. Tier list. God help us.
So if we're putting the first one at 3, that one's 2 for me. This is so
Okay.
confusing. Scrap that
Yeah,
idea completely.
your tier list thrown me.
It's because
we
we'd already
were
put
already-
the other one at 3.
Yeah, that was 3 out of 10. 3 out of 6 makes it feel a lot better than it actually was.
Yeah.
Right, let's
Okay,
get
we'll
the
keep
next
it
one in.
out
We'll
of 10.
see. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we'll see where they go from there.
Okay. So whack it up.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Okay, so this one's called Holiday Haunting. WSJ's letter on March 13th, 1937, we're going further back in time, recounts an experience he'd had over half a century earlier. It clearly left a lasting impression. In the year 1885, Jesus Christ, when I was a schoolboy, we went for our summer holiday to a furnished house between Ventnor and Bonchurch on the Isle of Wight. St. Boniface House was modest, possessing one of the most charming small gardens I have ever seen. I ever saw. Ghosts soon declared themselves. The manifestations were pronounced and various. My sisters were visited in the night by a figure walking in their room. When it came between their beds, they fled shrieking. A figure passed the housemaids in the corridor. Cold hands were laid on hands lying outside the counterpane. Bells rang without being pulled. The village priest came with book and holy water. The spirits were effectually laid, and we slept in peace. Now I have read in Mrs. Sterling's The Diaries of Dummer an account of similar manifestations at the same house in 1851. The old house had been pulled down, but I hope its garden still shelters the poor houseless shades that wander by night.
There you go.
So, I mean, straight out, I think that's better than the other 2.
Way
There was a
better.
ghost in this one.
Yeah, exactly. There was actually a point to the story, for one.
So, yes, what did we have in that one then? So it was a ghost wandering around the house between beds, touching the hands of maids. Something about a counterpane. I don't know what that is, but
Bells rang without being pulled.
yes, solid. I mean, solid ghost story. And the
I mean-
priest turned up and got rid of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great advert for the priest, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
He's getting 5 stars.
It's
on the
actually
Yelp.
just his Tinder bio.
And the ghosts were affected.
It could have been. I know that the point of this is short ghost stories, but it could have been longer. I think he just ran through some of those points.
Well, so yeah, so this is obviously 7 real life ghost stories from readers of the Country Life magazine.
Mhm.
And yeah, they are quite short.
Hmm.
They don't like long stories in the country magazine.
I suppose they've got limited space to publish them.
Yeah. They've also got.
Can't have
I'd
multiple
imagine.
pages.
I don't know what their demographic feel like their audience is like, but I don't know. They might just not be able to read that well. You know,
There is
just
that.
limited. You know, I can't read too much. It's got to be short, concise, to the point, and probably shit.
Yeah.
Got
That's
to
it.
get back out to the garden, tend
That's
to the
it.
tulips.
Where's the Alan Titmarsh? I want to get to the Alan Titmarsh article. Where is it? That's what they want to get to. This stuff they just got to read through to get.
Yeah,
to
they're not
the
really. They're not
other
here for the ghost
In
stories.
1937.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we? I take it we're putting that above the last one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because there was actually something that happened of note.
Yeah. I would give that 5 out of 10.
That's got to be the best one yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, I'm giving that 5 out of 10 because the other two have been very bad.
Yeah, they're not-
Realistically, I would not. I'd probably put that at a 4 if the others weren't less than that.
If I'm being honest, if we'd have started with that one, I probably would have given it a 3.
Mhm.
Jesus, this is in the toilet.
Like, he just didn't go into detail. He was like, yeah, the girls were screaming, cold hands were laid on hands, and then the
I mean,
priest.
that's cold hands on hands is pretty creepy.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Well, I think it's just like a ghostly hand
Yeah,
touches
I
your
think-
hand.
Yeah, I think it's
Oh.
like spirits are meant to be cold, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, like
mean-
cold hands were laid on hands.
If
like,
I've ever got my hand on the counterpane and something cold touches me and there's nothing there, I'll wonder where I've got a counterpane from.
That's true. No one really knows what counterpane is.
You
Oh.
can't really- I need to know.
I ain't even got the energy to Google it. I really haven't. So
I assume it's like a mantelpiece.
yeah,
What's your guess, Loz?
I'd either say like maybe
I've got the answer here.
counterpane became countertop. Maybe they like changed the word.
No, Maya's just read it because she's
I
shocked.
have. What the fuck?
The definition of counterpane is a bedspread.
Right.
I think this guy was trying to get a fucking like gig at Country Life.
He has.
Like the way that he like signed it off, like the old house has been pulled down, but I hope its garden still shelters the poor houseless shades that wander by night. Like Country Life, I'm gonna shag you, mate. Shut up.
I mean, this
Uh,
was from 1885.
True.
what, this magazine? Sounds like it.
This story.
All right.
Big old dweebs running about in
Mm.
1885.
That's it. Shade has been
So-
thrown.
So next up, we've got you again, I think, Loz.
Yes. So what do we rate that definitively in the end? Are we saying
I think we'll go
5?
5 based on the previous 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Okie doke.
This
Right.
one looks good from the very brief bit I read while skimming earlier.
The Lost Village. It's a decent title to start off with, I guess.
hmm
Right. This wartime letter from a reader identifying themselves as Oats. Weird. Okay.
Porridge.
Surrey was published on February the 27th, 1942. That's a day after my mum's birthday. I mean, she weren't born in 1942. Sorry.
That is slap
That
bang
is-
in the middle
Sorry,
of World War
Mum.
II as well.
Sorry, Mum, you're ancient. Deal with it. In Scotland last year, while walking through an ancient forest with my husband, we took a shortcut through the wild glen and intended to walk down the bank of the Fillen to, what is that, Crane Larrick? That's what I'm going for.
It's pretty solid.
We came to an open space, flat and treeless and full of sun haze. As we entered, my husband remarked, "I don't like this place. It's too old and dead." That's harsh. I was about
Bit
to
rude, mate.
reply that I felt it only peaceful, but I suddenly had the sensation of depression, almost amounting to hopelessness. Wow. What I saw was more a feeling as if all about me was snow under a leaden sky, and behind me there were people, and their eyes were without hope. Wow, this is very philosophical. My husband saw that I was oddly frightened, and so we left for Crane Larrick. We told them at the hotel that we'd felt spooky at one place in the forest. The late Mr. Alistair Stewart said, "Oh yes, that would be where a whole village was lost in the snow and they all starved to death." We are both Celtic, but neither of us in the least psychic. One thing I do know is that even if I were chased by Hitler and his grisly gang, I would not enter that forest again. Why are we referencing Hitler there?
I'm sorry. that's not funny. But to call the Nazis his grisly gang is so out of order.
I
Mind you,
feel
this was written during the war.
You can't call them his grisly gang.
yeah, they're all like, you know,
His grisly gang.
grizzly gang. Maybe that, I don't know if that was back in the day. That might have been like a real, like, you know, you've just called them a, you know, C word. You know what I mean? I don't even know if we're allowed to say
Yeah,
C word on
grisly
this.
gang could be like a fucking insult back in the day.
Yeah.
Could be a bad one. I think I like that story, but there is far too much. If I am going to say there's one criticism of it, it's all a bit too, like, philosophical. Oh, they're
It was
right.
very scene setting.
Yes. A lot of scene setting going on, not a lot of action, you know?
My favourite bit is where the late Mr. Alistair Stewart said, "Oh yes,
We've dropped his
that would be
government
where
name.
the whole village was lost in the snow and they all starved to death."
Yes, that whole place.
Of course. How do you not know of the whole? Ah, yes, the whole village that starved to death in the snow.
I didn't even know, like, maybe that's just me being naive. Did Scotland used to get really bad snow? Do they still get really bad
I
snow?
think bits of Scotland get quite
Yeah.
snowy at points. The thing that sort of got me is this seems very calm for mid-World War II.
Yeah, it's true.
Because the Grizzly Gang weren't in town yet.
Although then again, people did get evacuated to like Scotland and places like that, didn't they?
Yeah, because they were just like,
Get away from
it's not really worth bombing, is it? So we'll stay away.
Beyond
Send them
saving.
up
the
there.
villagers lose themselves in the snow. We don't need
Yeah.
to deal with them.
What's the point? They're literally just getting buried themselves in snow. So well, just let them starve.
We don't need to go for them.
We'll wait.
So-
we'll let them
Waste
wait
of
it out.
ammunition.
So what are we saying then? What are we giving that one out of 10?
I did like it because I like the idea of. Well, I don't like the idea of people perishing in snow, but
No.
as a story, as a ghost story or a paranormal one, I do like it because.
So I
Yeah.
guess the psychic thing's the main paranormal sort of bit of that.
Yeah, I do like how they also said that they're not psychic in the slightest. Like it would really matter either way.
While having a potentially psychic experience as well.
Yeah.
Well, you clearly either are or you didn't see it. So pick
Which one is it?
We need to get them on to cross-examine them. I don't know if they're still alive, but if they are,
What's the relevance of them being Celtic?
I think there's a lot of like.
I'm glad you did that because I didn't know which way to say that either.
I think it's Celtic because Celtic is a football club, is it
Football
not?
team.
Yeah, I didn't want to say Celtic in case they're like, you know, then have people in the chat so it's not actually fucking Celtic, it's Celtic. You don't want to get
The
things
Celtics
wrong.
are like
Notoriously psychic?
sort of pagan-y kind of.
Okay.
Yes.
That might be
Okay.
really offensive. I don't know.
They're all druids, basically.
That's what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
They've
all
got,
come
like,
out of
runes
the,
and-
they come out of the woods with like herbal shit. It's like, look, there's my
They
wares.
gather around in full moons and sacrifice goats. So that's probably.
Sacrifice goats. That's a new one. Let's
Do
go.
they have goats in Scotland?
I think they do, but
They must do.
Jordan is never going to let us record a podcast on our
I mean, let's be
ever
honest. It's
again.
probably not going out. This one, is it?
Yeah, to clarify, we haven't told Jordan we're doing this, as far as I'm aware.
So, what are we thinking about that one?
I mean, yeah, it was solid. It had, some sort of paranormal element to it. It had psychics, which controversial, but not too bad.
I mean, at least this one, I felt like, although it was again short, which all of these are, it had an ending which I recognised was an ending. So
Yeah.
That is good.
I feel like
I
I'm
like when
rating.
stories
I
do
feel
that.
like I'm rating this from a writer's perspective, of which I'm not.
Hmm.
I can barely read, so I really don't think I should be judging stories on that. But that's what I'm doing. With this one, I'd say solid 5, maybe even a 6, just because of what's become before it.
Yeah, I think one thing to think about with these is obviously they are from 100 years ago, 60 years ago.
Mm.
Yeah, that is a good point.
The paranormal was obviously a lot less popular back then. It was a lot less spoken
Mhm.
about, I guess. You didn't have your
Yeah.
YouTube back then to push it, your TV shows, investigate. You didn't have Zach Bagans. Imagine a world without Zach Bagans.
Devastating.
So these things are obviously a bit
Can't even talk
more,
about it.
taboo and a bit more niche. So while they're very small experiences and stories, I guess at the time this would have been like, oh my God, I saw a
That's
woman in the
true.
street.
That's true. Like in today's day and age, you have to do so much to prove paranormal. Whereas back in them days, this would have been like unreal
World-shattering, yeah.
paranormal. Exactly. Like if I walked into a field and I had a psychic vision about an entire lost village, I'd be like, well, could be better,
But if you 100 years ago did that, mind blown.
That's it.
Cool. So I guess
Yeah,
the
no,
next
I
one,
think that story was good. That story
Yeah.
was good.
that was a big step up from the others.
Yeah,
Definitely.
agreed.
So on to the
100%.
next one, I guess. Is that me this time?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So we have got a spectre with the canine seal of approval.
Nice.
On March 21st, 1963, Kay Monia Williams of Suffolk had her missive published about a
Shout out.
strange... Good point. Had her missive published about a strange ghost seen not by her, but by her dog.
Right.
Already more believable, I trust the dog.
Yeah, love this.
Okay,
Best story.
so... Should we just rank it there? We don't even need the rest.
That's already a
In
7.
1916, she was living with her mother and a friend in Devon, big up Devon, in a large and rather spooky house. One evening, when we were all sitting by the fire, Prickles, my terrier, got up, walked to the door, looked up and wagged his tail, greeting someone who had just come in. After a moment, he turned and, still wagging his tail, accompanied her or him towards us. He then stopped, looked up again and turned towards the door, but did not move and obviously watched the person leave the room, after which he sighed deeply. He certainly liked his friend, who was invisible to us.
Ew.
That's a solid story.
I
mean-
love stories with dogs in them,
Mhm.
or in general, because I just think they're so believable, and also it's definitely a strong reason why I have pets and why I feel so comfortable like staying here on my own, because I know that I'm gonna know if there's something freaky going on because they'll behave differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Invisible.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. Invisible friends is another connection, obviously, to you,
Mhm.
Myah, as well, isn't it? Because you had an invisible friend. Well,
Mhm.
was it an invisible friend? Did you class it as a friend?
I never called him like my imaginary friend or anything like that, and I never like recognized him as a friend more than anything. So like that's maybe where it differs, and also makes it a bit more disgusting because
Yeah.
he was never my friend. He was just the guy that I had to read the story to at night.
What
Also, was he invisible?
He wasn't invisible to me, but no one else ever saw him, so that doesn't necessarily mean that he was invisible, but he was just,
Translucent.
no one else was ever in the room when it was happening.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So he might have physically been there. I might have had, what do you call them? Are they froggers?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jesus!
There might have actually been a frogger in my house that used to just hang out in my wardrobe.
And get you to read
And my
what?
parents just never... Yeah,
The Gruffalo.
The
Was
Gruffalo.
it the Gruffalo?
the Gruffalo.
The
Yeah.
Gruffalo.
Such a strange thing to request.
Side note, I met the illustrator of the Gruffalo the other week.
Big
Random
fan.
little...
Myah,
claim
what did he
to
look
fame.
like?
I don't know. I couldn't even tell. All I know is he was old. He was an old man.
How old's the
And I would have
illustrator?
been...
The illustrator of the Gruffalo was an old man. I mean, there's a connection.
Would he have been an old man 15 years ago?
I mean, he had to be in his 60s, I guess. So
I cracked it.
we're not saying the illustrator of the Gruffalo broke into Maya's house when she was a child. To clarify,
There's the slanderous quote of the episode.
Shit.
Let's go. The illustrator of the Gruffalo hangs out in little girls' wardrobes.
oh god,
Just from the wardrobe. Read that same story again. Read it,
I
Myah.
fucking love that book for no reason.
I didn't even write it. I just illustrated it.
Show me the fucking pictures.
What? It's not a pop-up?
Your parents are cheap.
Fuck this place. Dear me.
And that's when you never saw him again.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, back to the story, I guess.
Yeah, sorry.
So, Prickles the dog
hmm
sees someone walk in the door, follows them across the room towards the other people, and then watches them leave again. That's
Yeah.
quite a specific motion, quite a specific movement, I guess, for the dog.
Yeah.
It's not something you could, it's doing something else, and it's like, oh, look, that's quite a specific. Looks
Yeah.
at it, walks with it, wagging its tail, stops, leaves with it.
And then relaxes the
Mhm.
second that it goes to the
Yeah.
door. That's such a weird. Yeah.
It's not something it could be doing something else, and you think, oh,
Yeah.
that's weird.
It's not like it just randomly got excited, like staring into a corner. Like it did a movement with the thing, then the thing left, and then it calmed down
Mhm.
immediately. I'd say that's really, really believable. And it's also so tame that it makes it more believable. So
Mhm.
it wasn't a human that experienced it or was, displaying these things. It was an animal, which I trust. It was believable the way that it went, and it's just a regular thing. So like, it's not like, oh my god, my table floated across the room. It was like
Yeah.
my dog got excited in a
Yeah.
weird way. I like it. I like that story a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if my dog did that, I would be concerned.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, if your cats did that, Myah, how would you feel?
They wouldn't. Like, they just don't fucking care about
They
anyone.
don't greet people when they come in. Fair.
Literally, Small is sitting at the top of the stairs right now, cleaning his nuts. If someone walked up the stairs, he wouldn't even notice. So, not fussed, not phased.
I mean,
at all.
the cats didn't warn you when Lozzy broke into your house and snuck up the stairs.
They didn't. That sounds out of context. Out of context, that does sound weird and wrong.
I was in the shower.
Even worse. Let's go.
It's so weird because I think so. Scott was round. Jordan had gone to the shop, and Lozzy was on his way round.
Yeah.
So I knew Lozzy was coming, but I was also expecting Jordan to be back long before Lozzy got there. So when I heard the front door open, I just went, "Hiya," just to say hello to Jordan because I thought he'd got back. And then I'm sitting in here brushing my hair, and the stairs are like just outside this room. And Lozzy literally just creeps up the stairs, unintentionally creeps. You just are a quiet walker. And then you just popped your head around the door. You're like, hello, what the fuck? I've never been so scared in my entire life.
Meanwhile, I heard Myah panic and I heard voices. I was like, I'll get out of the shower. Because we were getting ready for an investigation. I can't remember where we were going.
Where are we going?
It wasn't
Was that the
Africa.
hotel? No,
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 I think it was.
the blacksmiths.
It might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was in the shower getting ready. I
In
hear
the shower,
voices.
putting
I come
clothes
out.
on.
I was like rushingly put my clothes on, and then I was like, right, let's see what's happening outside. And then Lozzy's just stood there. That was.
I
A strange
honestly thought no
experience.
one was in the house because I didn't hear Myah say hello. So I walked in. I went into the front room. Was like, no one there. Went into the kitchen. No one there. And I was like, right, there's got to be someone upstairs then. And as I got to the top of the stairs, I did hear Myah doing something, brushing her hair or whatever it was. But yeah, then I just decided to freak her out by just like, hello.
Hello.
That's it. But I didn't know
It's
you were
'cause
in the
popped
shower.
your head round at eye level as well.
Yeah.
So I was just sitting there doing my makeup, and in my peripheral, it's just you, your face, like right here.
That's it.
That's funny.
Yeah. It could have gone badly if Scott really thought you were in danger and he come out of the fucking shower swinging.
Butt naked.
Yeah. No,
Real
Scott!
real sense of urgency. I stopped and put all my clothes on before I came out of the shower.
Quickly, no.
Myah could have been
At
being
that
mad
point, I'm
outside.
dead.
I'm like trying to put a belt through the belt hoops.
Yeah, he can hear Myah getting stabbed and he's just like, right, hang on.
button up my shirt.
Doing your shoelace, like rabbit goes through round the hill through the hole.
Oh shit! I've put the fucking right sock on the left foot. Fuck.
So,
dear.
Invisible Man talking to dogs.
Like that one a lot.
Out of 10.
Favorite one so far.
Yeah, I think it's better because it's got a pet in it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think
and his
we'll-
name's Prickles, and
Prickles.
I've literally never heard a better name for a terrier in my entire life.
That is solid.
So cool.
So out of 10, we're giving it.
10 just for his name.
Jesus.
No,
I mean,
I'll give it a
based on-
7.
Based on what we've
7.
had so far, it's high.
I'll be happy with 7.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or
7 I
content
think
with
is good.
7. I mean,
Okay, so-
preferably all these would be 10s, but they're not all made equal, unfortunately.
We've loved that.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
I mean, we've got 2 left. So, Myah, I think you are up for the next one.
okay. I'm really looking forward to this one based on the title. And it's also a little bit more recent, so that could
yeah.
be quite cool.
Yeah.
Only 50 years ago.
Yeah. When you say it like that, how the fuck? Right, okay. When a ghost becomes a horse whisperer, big fan. This letter from Devon, which came from B. Wynell Mayo, was published on
Mayo.
Mr. Mayo was published on September 24th, 1970. There is an old farm here in which at least 3 generations of a family called Hawkins lived. The recent owner told me she and her children often smelt tobacco smoke in the house when none of them ever smoked. She owned a beloved mare in foal. When the foal was due, there were complications. Very worried, she went to the stable to be with her. There, she smelt old Hawkins' smoke and felt his presence comforting her and calming the mare. I discovered through my gardener, one of the Hawkinses, who was brought up in the house, that all the family were devoted to animals and they all smoked pipes. The owner of the house knew nothing of the family except their name.
Okay. Again, another relatively solid story for me because the paranormal and smells is quite a strong sort of theme. Obviously, pregnant horse.
Obviously,
Just end it
pregnant
there.
horse.
Just end it there. Obviously, pregnant horse.
Obviously, pregnant horse.
Well, I had a complete blank. I couldn't think of the rest of the sentence then. Scene
I think-
changing back to full screen threw me.
Obviously, pregnant horse.
Treadmill.
Yeah.
Obviously, pregnant horse. Strongest point I've literally ever heard in my whole life.
Trotting on to the next thing.
Yeah, I think again, not much has happened, and the smell of tobacco smoke is incredibly common. I think it's more likely that the dad secretly smoked and didn't want to tell anyone.
Yeah.
That's
Deserving.
my theory on this story.
Cheeky sig.
It's a solid theory, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
one of the Hawkinses.
I mean, yeah, the smell also moving to the barn or the foaling area is weird, but there's nothing to specifically say that was the ghost of Old Man Hawkins or Old Hawkins, whatever. Solid, maybe 5, I would say.
Yeah.
I'd probably give that one a 3,
There you
personally.
go. That's it.
I mean, fair. What about you, Loz?
I mean, it didn't really do a lot for me. I'm not gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm not going to be honest.
And obviously the pregnant horse. Yeah.
Oh. Okay,
I'm going to call this one a 5 because obviously the pregnant horse.
Yeah.
I mean that. Yeah.
Well, and also, is every single story we've read been based in Devon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
literally.
no, there've been a couple that haven't, but yeah. This is also the second story on September 24th.
Oof.
There you go. It's a special date.
Different year, but same date. maybe that's a day when the paranormal's particularly
Yeah, maybe they'll
at
just have
large.
a pack of lucky strikes.
So yeah, so that one wasn't great. We're really holding out our hope here for the last story.
This last one could blow it out of the park.
All I'm
I mean, this
saying
last one
is,
kind of has to.
I'm pretty sure this last one is the shortest of the bunch.
No, it's fairly long.
Is it? Shit.
Yeah.
It's got a bit to it, and it's yours, Loz. So
Shit,
what
it is.
the fuck?
Oh, no.
um, take
Right.
it away.
Come on.
Anyway, the horse was pregnant. Moving on.
Of course. Obviously, the pregnant horse.
Yes. The carriage that foretold death. Don't know if I said that. That was a bit too much enthusiasm on that, wasn't there, really?
Yeah, that was a bit too excitable.
That's it. Mary Corbett Harkins of Kent, published on May 4th, 1967, shared an event originally written down by her grandfather in his diary almost 100 years previously. So we're going back in time again. That's great. The reference in Roy Christian's article, April 6th, to the death of Marquess of Hastings in 1868 reminds me of a story that my grandfather wrote in his diary that year. Heard of the death of Marquise? Is that saying Marquise? Am I reading that right?
That is Marquise, but the first word, I do not know if that's actually the same word. I assume it is. It has to be. But
Marquise. Anyway, Marquise of
Marquis?
Hastings, yesterday in London. He was only 26 years old. A curious thing happened in connection with his death. There is a tradition in the family that before a death of a member of it, some other members hear a noise of carriage wheels driving to his door when no carriage is in fact there. This actually happened at the castle, brackets Cardiff, when Lord Bute was down here lately, and he even went to the door to see if a carriage was there. It was remarked at the time, Lord Bute being Hastings on the mother's side. My grandfather was Lord Bute's cousin and knew him well. Some 60 years later, the then Marquis of Bute and his wife were at Dumfries House, their Ayrshire residence. One evening after dinner, they heard a carriage. They waited, but no one was announced, so they rang for the butler. Imagine that. But no one had come. The next
Mate,
day...
I'd be livid. Don't you hate it when that happens?
I know. Honestly, when my butler doesn't, when he fucks up royally, right?
Isn't it?
retro cherry knocking.
I asked for the taxi to be there at a certain time, and he's told me a different time. Honestly, what is the point? What is the point?
Disgusting.
Anyway, the horse was pregnant. The next day, news came that a member of the Hastings family died. Is that it? That is it.
That is it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, again, common thing in the paranormal is premonitions of death, omens of death.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You hear a noise and
Yeah.
it signifies someone's dying or dead. You know what I mean?
Kind of like a banshee, sort of. The screaming woman you hear, and it means someone's dying.
Yeah. I like that one.
Yeah.
I think that it was very poorly written. No
Mhm.
offense to the writer. But the concept was really cool. The way that it was like a carriage that always like signified that somebody was going to die. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it was in 1868. There would have been quite a lot of carriages around then, I assume.
Mm.
But I'm assuming this was in a manor house of some description.
Yeah.
Where it wouldn't just be a busy street outside.
Yeah, probably had a big drive or
Mhm.
something.
So a carriage you probably would have seen coming up the drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
I mean-
if the butler was just doing his job, then they would have known who was there.
But what if it was a ghost carriage?
Should have opened the door.
That's it. You need
That's
to,
it.
need to be more conscientious if you're going to be a butler.
Innit?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you want a job, mate? Do you? You'd be
So-
sacked if you were my butler.
So I think, weirdly, it's one of the better stories,
Mm.
which is kind of impressive.
I mean, it's almost by default at this rate, isn't it, Scott, to be honest?
Yeah. Right, listen. I may have
I don't
picked
think
the
the
article.
stories could have got any worse. So
Yeah. Okay, so this might not be the best article I've ever selected.
It's still an article.
Mm.
Still something.
I
And
mean,
there's been a
Country
couple of
Life seemed like
half
a
decent ones.
Country Life seemed like a solid source for this.
Yeah.
Retrospectively, possibly not as solid as I thought, but I enjoyed some of them. This one for me probably gets maybe a 6.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So the highest
A
we've rated
6.
one is a 7.
And that was
Mm.
because the dog had a cool name.
Yes.
I feel
So-
like we've not really rated the stories on their content, but
No.
if we did, they'd all be sub 2. So
Yeah.
Obviously.
I think
Pregnant
had
horse.
we have heard the dog story in isolation, I wouldn't have given it higher than like a 4. I wouldn't have even given it a 4 if I'm being honest.
But compared to the
They're not
others,
great, are they?
listen, right? Yeah, no, no.
If this
Um,
podcast makes it out, I will be blown away.
same.
So if you guys are hearing this right now,
If you're hearing this, let us know your favourite of the
Yeah,
stories.
If you're hearing this, Jordan really was strapped for time. He really was.
I guess that's it.
Well,
yeah,
what?
yeah,
So should we run down what we rated? What? So the first one.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'll
Okay.
go to the top of the article. The first one was Last Sight of Departed Friend. Last Sight of a Departed Friend. That was the first one. Yeah. I think we rated that a 3, didn't we?
yeah.
Just because we didn't know what was coming next. This one, I think we rated a 2.
2.
The
That one
wasn't
Disappearing
great.
Woman, because nothing really happened.
Mhm.
The Holiday Haunting, I can't remember. We
4?
Yeah,
yes, I think we did.
I think it was that one. At least there was a ghost. I think we said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Lost Village, that was, I did like the idea behind that one.
Yeah.
I can't remember what we rated it though. Are we
I
set?
think that got a 5.
I think it got a 5 by default. Of the other ones were lesser.
There's a lot of default ratings here. This is one we rated a 7, the one with the dog.
7.
Yeah.
Solid.
Right. In at number
They got
7.
forward.
When a ghost becomes a horse whisperer or chain smoker.
That one sucks.
That was a
Yeah.
4, I think.
That one toked, bro.
5, 4.
Yeah, I think
That one blew O's.
that one had so much nicotine and pregnancy.
That one made me need nicotine.
Yeah.
I'm actually turning to cigarettes right after this. And then the Carriage that foretold death. What do we rate? That one was a 5 or 6?
5, 6, 6.
Fuck, now we really have been reaching if that one got 5. Fuck me.
Well,
5.
some call it
okay.
reaching, some call it just, try and have a bit of fun. I'm actually disappointed
mean-
there wasn't an article or a story written by Alan Titmarsh. Or what a ghost
Yeah.
story written by Alan Titmarsh. He's
Shall I
gonna
see if I
put some
find one?
sort of plant fucking
Pun.
yeah. Or maybe even make plants the whole story. So everyone expecting a ghost story and it's like, right, this is the best way to cut tulips.
He's written a book. If
Who?
this is the same guy.
Called The Haunting.
The Haunting.
A story of love, betrayal, and intrigue
Who?
from the best-selling novelist and national treasure, Alan Titchmarsh.
What? I thought he did nothing after Ground Force. Oh, what's going
That's
on,
it.
Alan? Where you been?
On next week's episode, we read Alan Titchmarsh's The Haunting.
That's it. Might
Tune
as,
in
well,
for the review of The Haunting.
might as well read an extract now.
I think it's a love story.
Yeah, it looks like it is.
Boo.
Oh, don't tell me it involves
Yeah.
plants.
Nah.
Love stories are for losers.
Ghost stories are for, well,
Cool
Winners.
kids.
these ones, I don't know. But mostly
Yeah.
cool kids.
Yes. Cool. So I think
So,
that's it.
moral of the story: don't let Scott plan podcasts.
Retrospectively,
Scott.
possibly.
In the mud.
Sorry, don't mean to
But
drag
at
you
least
like
you
that.
brought something
I
to the
can't be
table.
blamed for this one.
It's more than I brought.
Exactly. It is also more than I brought.
All I've got
there
is the, use code Dudey for 20% off at Wraith. That's all I got.
Damn
Do
right.
it.
That's it.
Do it.
If you needed keeping up, use this, not those stories.
In a way, this is the best advert for Wraith because
Yeah.
you're going to need it to get through this podcast if it ever comes to light. You're going to need it. Because these stories, well, they maxed it at 7, and they the lowest was a 2, I think, or a 3.
It's worked well because someone's already broken into Myah's house live on the podcast.
That's it. Can you actually hear something?
And I can see both of my cats, so I know it's not
Oh,
them.
no.
Okay, do you want to go check? And me and Lozzy will fill the air just in case. So, potential ghost live on pod.
That's it.
Let's commentate, Loz. What do we think's happening currently?
I think there's someone at the door, and they've made
Solid.
maybe they've gone to knock, but then they withdrew their hand, and then they've knocked their keys in their pocket or something. And the cats have just looked down the stairs like, what's going on? What's
Yeah,
that?
I mean, that is a solid guess.
That's it.
Okay, I assume there's nothing there because she seems to have returned.
I think we're good.
Okay, that is a shame.
How boring. Get him next time.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I was hoping for a little bit of drama there, but that's it, innit?
I added some suspense to the end of the episode, though.
Yeah.
They did.
So the cat's just staring down the stairs.
They're both just. So I heard a bang, and then both of the cats are staring down the stairs, and they're now really staring down the stairs.
I mean,
No,
we had a
they're
ghost story about this a couple of minutes ago.
That's it.
This is already a better ghost story than the other ghost stories.
Some of those.
Yeah, this is at least a 7.5.
Rate this ghost story.
Yeah.
The only way this would be better if there was in any way involved a pregnant horse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just
The horse
booted
is
down
not
your
pregnant.
door.
Yeah.
Maybe
that
that's
would do
what's
it.
downstairs.
Oh, that'd be a plot twist.
I know, the pregnant horse.
Jesus Christ.
Okay,
Well-
Loz, do you want to take us out?
Yeah, I'll take us out. I'll take us all out. You know what I mean? Because. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. If, like I said, if this ever actually goes out, it's amazing. And I'm so glad that if it has actually gone out, I'm so glad that it has. You've witnessed greatness today.
You have.
You don't get this when Jordan and Bailey are back. You just don't get this sort of content. So,
Innit?
Stay tuned. Remember, if you do want to become a Patreon, you get extra content, early access to the investigations, all that sort of stuff. I'm doing all his job for him right now. I've done the Wraith, done the Patreon. You can join for as little as £1 a month. You know what I mean?
Twitch.tv/Mind Calendar. So.
Oh, right. Now
plug
you
that
plug
one.
yourself. Right. Mars
Yeah.
plugged herself.
He normally does that in his outros. So
Okay,
I don't know if you've heard him do
yeah.
it, but he does do that.
100%,
So,
yeah.
I'm just fulfilling that.
Scott, you got the Tepis Paranormal Podcast.
I do. I've got, the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to plug as Jordan's not here?
No, I'm good. Don't forget to plug Atmo, obviously.
Yeah.
My
at the
PayPal
podcast.
is.
Yeah, send us some donations in. We really do need it after those stories. They're severely, it's depressing, really, isn't it?
A little bit.
I feel depressed, but all for your benefit, because you're watching this, hopefully, or listening to this, and I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next Trip podcast. Jordan will be back, because there's no way he's letting this happen twice. So...
I hope you enjoyed it for the first and last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First and last time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.